that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Hello and welcome to your regular programming. This is Souk Business Landscape, and it's very, very glad that today is a beautiful Monday and we are all alive and part of the program for today. Hope you all enjoyed your weekend. I really want to hear you and get to see and be part of your vibe. So hey, we start this way. Join us, go on all social media platforms and check out SOUQNEWS TV. Go there, log on, communicate with us. Let's start this beautiful day together. Remember, it's SBL where we talk about trending issues. Today we'll be looking at what is happening with the federal government and monies they are saying no more dollar contracts with ministries, departments, and agencies. We'll look at it vis-a-vis for procurement and those that it really concerns. And FX. We also talk about the National Board for Technology Incubation, what is happening in there. A lot of good news is coming out of it, but how much of it is trickling down? But Trump cannot just but escape being in the news. The tariff thing is still there. We're going to talk about that. And staple coins are in the news. Agama is still talking, and he has plans. So we also look at it and tell ourselves some basic things. Should we employ? Should we investigate? Should we invest? It's all about good things happening in our country, and I have a part to play, so do you. So don't go anywhere. Let's be part of this show together. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks. I'm not alone on this table. I'm pleased and I'm proud to introduce to you, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, starting from my far left, the fair one, Priye. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning to you, Chooks. Good morning, gentlemen. Hope you had yourself a splendid weekend. My name is Priye Krumale. Good morning to you, Lagos, Nigeria. Good morning to you, world. It's nice to be here.
You're welcome. Also next to him is Olumide.
Good morning, Chooks. Good morning, gentlemen. I am Olumide Shokoya. So glad to be here.
I thought you would say the night.
Then the Oracle himself is here. He's not missing in action. So you're welcome to the show this morning.
Good Nigeria, Chooks. Fellow viewers, good Nigeria.
You're welcome. We'll go on a very short break, and once we return, we'll hit our first story. Don't go anywhere. This is SBL.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Yes, you're welcome back. Now let's hit it straight. The federal government has ordered all ministries, departments, and agencies to stop awarding contract in foreign currency as part of the 2025 Appropriation Act implementation guideline. The new rule states that contracts must be denominated in Naira unless the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy gives pro-approval. The guidelines also mandate MDAs to submit monthly budget performance report and prohibits unapproved recruitment or personnel cost increases. Tax exemptions must follow due process, while all support from development partners must be routed through the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning. Economics have backed the policy, saying it will reduce demand for foreign currency, curb procurement fraud, and strengthen the Naira. Now let's get to talk. Before you think, let's tell ourselves some basic thing. Now, our budget for 2025, even before, has always been denominated in Naira. So we know what our budget is going to look like in Naira. But now let's get to ask ourselves some basic questions. There are certain procurements we still have to do in dollars. How do we go about it? If we have always at every point in time now have to seek the intervention of the Ministry of Finance and the Minister, how is this going to work out?
Well, I think without really liking to be too negative this morning, is the fact that as a country we like dealing with symptoms rather than address the root cause of problems. And yeah, why it is important that, of course, contracts are denominated in Naira. But then, of course, there had to be the contracts that had to be done here. And I don't think that contracts done here are denominated in Naira in the first, in dollars in the first place, or in euro. So if people are doing purchases in Nigeria and then it's done in dollar, then of course, criminal offense, EFCC should be after that kind of a human being. But if you have to do business with somebody who is not your national, and then of course he has to move into your country to come do business, and you're asking the person, yes, he can value it in Naira, but of course he can't take Naira out of Nigeria. How are you going to pay him in Naira? So what that means is that you're really also making a provision for the MDA to be going to the black market to go source Naira. That is what it means. And I don't think that is the right thing that we should do at this point in time. There are a lot of few things that we can do really to show up our Naira dollar earning, if that's the issue, or euro earning. How can we empower people to be able to be more productive so that we can have goods that are accessing the international community? How can we increase and ramp up oil production, so that crude production, so that we can earn more foreign currency? How do we standardize the mining sector so that the trade in mining can bring in a lot of dollars? How can also we encourage those in diaspora so that remittances can increase? These are the things that government must have to look into really, because otherwise you create more bottleneck, and then of course budget performance become very difficult. Because imagine that the 1,000 MDA that want to do procurement are filing in the Ministry of Budget and National Planning. Processing will take time, and that of course will give more time to the time taken to deliver on procurement, and that will not be good for the nation. Because what that means is that if you get 3 or 4, 5 months to do that approval, then you get another 2, 3 months to do procurement. The year is ended. So of course you will find that budget performance will always be very low. But I am not averse to planning. That MDA should plan their procurement very well, such a way that we know that in this year, this is what we are buying. This is where we are heading toward, in line with the national vision of the president. So when we are able to do those plans, then we can factor in at what point these procurements are needed. And of course, they can be valued, and you have to translate them into Naira, because that's the Naira equivalent. At the end of the day, it will still be dollar or euro that's going to leave the country, not Naira.
Euro or dollar or Japanese yen or Chinese yen leaving the country. Now let me come to you, Priye. We've had a stable Naira for a while, thanks to the floating and thanks to CBN doing what they are supposed to do. Should we be worried when procurement occurs in dollars or any other currency?
Okay, I think we should be. First of all, existing legal contracts before the implementation of this policy, if it is denominated in dollar, it will have to hold sway until that such contract elapsed, because it had existed before this policy or this order. And the other thing is this: if for institutions or for industries like the aviation industry or for infrastructure, when they come into the country where we have foreign agencies and foreign companies, dominate, when they are coming into this country to do business, please, they need to have a Naira account. They need to have a Naira account. So when you have a Naira account, we pay them in Naira. You can transfer the Naira through other channels, convert it to dollar. Yes, we'll pay you the equivalent of the Naira. That should not be an hindrance, where if we have foreigners come to participate in the system, it is not under demand. You are coming to participate in this system where Naira is the currency for transacting business. So we pay you in the amount, the equivalent of the Naira. You must have a Naira account in Nigeria. Then we can now pay it into that account. Then you can now take it, convert it to dollar, and ship it to your country for the purchase of whatever thing you need to do. We must not pay you in dollar.
Yeah, but
Because-
just let me to so that we can add to the talk. We had the same arrangement during the last regime, and all the airline, because you buy tickets in Naira, you don't buy it in dollar. Now, CBN was not able to even move the Naira to dollar to send to the airline. So that reduced the credibility of the market. I mean, a lot of people didn't want to participate and they backed out. So the CBN able to guarantee
the question, should we do that in the first place?
It is not our
What it
responsibility.
is that the airlines sell tickets to you here, you buy the tickets. All the charges are taken. And then, of course, you pay it into the account. Now, how are they going to take the money out? The money has to go out official. And CBN don't have dollars. So
They can go source their dollars in the black market.
they don't need to go source dollars.
They need to go source their dollars. It's your
They
money.
need to go source dollars. So what
It's
it is
not
that-
our money anymore.
This is official.
Okay.
So
I 100% agree.
So what you're doing is that, you see, this is that's the point I just raised. So what you want to do is to use a backdoor to re-energize the black market industry, and then you make the Naira worse off at the end of the day. So what the point is you're paying this money into your account. Now, as they say, things are stable. I can use my Naira card to pay in dollar. That makes a lot of sense. So which shows that there's some dollar in CBN. Now the question I'm asking is, do you think that if all these transactions are going to be done in Naira, and this money has to be moved to the countries where they are, that CBN will be able to handle those movements if they don't have enough dollars for the exchange?
Jokes.
Okay. Now,
Sure.
as we speak right now, we are experiencing a bit more stability. Not like what it used to be before. That the fluctuation was like it could make you a billionaire or you could just completely kill your industry. Now let's go further.
No, he has not finished. I was really just pointing him.
Okay.
Whether he's sure that CBN has enough,
You're pointing him.
yes, has enough dollars to be able to do those transactions.
We're paying every company that coming to bid for a contract, or any MDAs that engage any company that wants to execute a contract in the country. You have a Naira account. We pay you in Naira into your account.
For the services rendered.
For the services rendered.
Okay.
So, you go look for your dollars and repatriate back to your country if that is what you want to do. It mustn't be our responsibility to do that.
No.
Just
This is your responsibility.
Just like
To convert, to pay you in dollars.
If you do business in America, and America wants to send money to you, in the UAE they want to send Naira to you, they don't need to ask you. It's the responsibility of the CBN to make this thing official. So what we are saying is that I can go to the black market, buy dollar, put it in my suitcase, and travel with it. Is that what we are talking about?
That's not what I am
So
saying.
how do I repatriate it? So how do I need to go do business with you? After doing business with you in Naira, I go to withdraw the money, buy the dollar to come and pay it to your account before I can transfer to my country?
Okay, so
Is that what you're thinking?
how do we repatriate dollar into Nigeria when you have Nigerians travel abroad? How do they send Naira back to you in your country, into your Naira account? How do they send money because they earn either in the Canadian dollar or the euro or the United States dollar? They earn it there. How do they convert it?
They use transfer.
It's transfer. So it's your bank that is
It's your bank.
Your bank is the one giving
The
you
bank
Naira.
must have the money.
Not them.
They have Naira accounts.
Yes,
Not them giving you. It's your bank that
It's
is
your
giving you
bank
Naira.
that's converted.
They have Naira accounts.
No, you don't need to have a Naira account.
No, in this case, they do. I'm talking about people. I'm just pointing out a scenario.
Okay.
People who are out there and they have Naira accounts. First of all, they convert in whatever platform they are converting the foreign currency. They have a Naira account here. Then they pay to their Naira account. After the conversion, then they send the money to your account. Now, why can't that be possible in organizations of that level? Maybe that's a question or that's a rhetorical question. The other thing is this. We must understand that the Naira we have $7 billion backlog when this new administration of the CBN came into office, which they have cleared. Did that result into the significant strengthening of the Naira? No, it did not. So if we are looking for a way out through this means, then we have to take other measures whereby we stand our ground. Or maybe I'm not clear exactly where we are saying that it needs to be converted first.
Can we also say, okay, you can also go to the CBN and buy yourself?
That's what CBN has.
CBN has to have.
So if CBN don't have dollar, what I will say, and this is why, of course, where the essence of the floating is important. That's what I'm saying to you. You see, when you have a root problem and all you do is try to treat symptom, you fall back to the same thing, because everybody is talking about the ease of doing business. And anybody who wants to do business with you, for that matter, is not that we are the one begging people to come do business with us. So we must not create an environment that will make it difficult for these people to operate. If we want these people to actually come to invest in our economy, then of course we must create an enabling environment. Now this financial infrastructure has to be created by CBN. Now what is the problem? Why is all this rule necessary? It's because we don't have enough dollars.
It's because we don't have enough dollars.
It's because we don't have enough dollars. So what should we be doing? We must be looking for means to create avenues to have more dollars. That's solution. So if you say MBA, you can't buy in dollars, so which means of course we have to prioritize local buying. So we buy locally. We're sourcing it locally. But if I have a need and I want to import equipment, for example, from Ireland,
that's personally.
Now I'm doing sourcing.
Is it personally or government agency?
Government agency, because this is for MDAs.
Yes.
So
ministries,
things that you cannot buy here, I'm going to value it.
Okay. Now,
that's the question. So you are making it difficult. So what you're saying is that MDA value it, put it in the budget, probably move out the money in the budget to go and source for the hard currency, to go down look for how to transfer this money to wherever you are sourcing your item from. For me, that is cumbersome. Because when they are saying that every MDA must route their approval for foreign purchase through the Ministry of Economic Planning, we are creating unnecessary bureaucracy.
That's where we have been coming to right now.
We are creating unnecessary bureaucracy, in my view. Honestly,
that's where we are coming to right now. Olumide, the night, help us out here now. Now, Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, they have their own work cut out for them. Now, with this kind of policy, and everyone now has to start routing their requests through that same ministry, how are they going to cope?
This is quite cumbersome if you look at it, because I understand where Doctor is coming from. I understand what he's trying to say. Because if we have to, and I'm looking at a situation whereby the black market will become the major market.
Major market for government agencies again?
Because if they cannot get this dollar available, they would go through the black market. And that is what we are even supposed to be trying to avoid. Now, I understand the fact that, yes, it will strengthen the Naira. I understand the fact that it would take away wasteful spending and all that. But it would also deter investors, international investors, because they would feel uninterested dealing with Nigerians, because how would they repatriate these monies back into their country? Are you going to pay them in Naira? Then they have to now go and look for how to convert to the dollar. Are they going to approach the CBN? Does the CBN have enough dollars? Then they now go to the black market. So inadvertently we are back to square one.
So how does the United States, how do companies in foreign, how do they get access to the Naira?
Okay.
To pay for whatever they are buying from here, they get raw materials here. They pay dollars here. So how do they get to pay some workers here? Because we know there are some workers who work for foreign organizations.
They are domiciled in dollars.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
If you don't have the subsidiary here, your employer is in Washington, they pay you in US dollars, so they won't pay you in Naira.
But I know someone who works and who earns in Naira. And when they pay to his Naira account and he earns in Naira. So how do they do that?
Doc,
How do they do that?
Let me help out. Now, for those sending monies to Nigeria, it doesn't matter.
I'm not talking about sending, I'm talking about organizations abroad.
It doesn't matter the organization, it doesn't matter now. If you're sending...
See, if the organization is in Nigeria here, then they have their accounts. Either they fund the account, maybe from business operation here, or even from sending of dollar here that are converted, and of course they can buy Naira and put in their account. So the account paying your person, you find out from the person, it's not a foreign account, it's a Nigerian account. That's where they receive salaries from. But the point I'm even going to add to what Olimide has said is the fact that we're also creating room for rent seeking.
If we continue...
No. If this program is put in place, so what that means is that everybody needs to be on top of the neck of the ministry, the officers of Minister of Budget and National Planning.
And Finance.
And then, of course, you have to prioritize who you have to give this opportunity to. And then, of course, you're creating room for rent seeking. So, which means also, again, probably want to really make that they don't happen, you're creating. Now, I think it's a very simple thing to say, anything that can be procured in Naira, no MDA should procure in dollar. It makes more sense. It makes more sense. So, which means, by the time you are submitting your audit report, it will be shown how your procurement is done, and then you can hold people accountable. Or rather than create a bottleneck, this is undue bureaucracy, and I think it is excessive, in my view.
Okay, while you hold on to your view, let's look at the budget itself. Every single MDA, at the end of the year, towards the end of the year, they prepare their budget, which means every single money they want to spend is in that budget, and it's denominated in Naira. Should they decide now to convert that particular expenditure or procurement in dollar, is based on what is in that budget. So why should we worry? That's the open question I'm asking. Why should we worry?
But before, we also know that these MDAs, by virtue of the contracts that they have done before the current budgets and the existing costs of the dollar, even though we know the volatility and the fluctuation of the amount of the dollar, would have pegged the projects they are going to handle at that particular period of time for a specific amount, just the way the budget was pegged as $75 for execution. They would have pegged that in an amount and make the Naira pricing available. Of course, there's room for contingencies where they can expand it if as a result of the volatility, it falls on the negative, which is the disadvantage to the MDAs.
Okay.
And that in itself rather should solve the question.
Okay. Priye, thank you very much. Olumide, what's the way forward?
I like what Doc said. I think what we can do, so let's start off with this one. Whatever can be procured in Nigeria, let's procure it in Nigeria with Naira. That would also encourage local manufacturers and local, people to create jobs. We can boost that part of the sector. Then, whatever we need to procure outside, let's also make sure that CBN is able to clear the backlog, because at the end of the day, it will still go back to the black market.
Okay, black market. I think I really want to shop in this black market. Let's go straight to our second story, and it has to do with the National Board for Technology Incubation. Now, they have partnered with the Nigerian Governors Forum, NGF, to drive technological innovation, youth entrepreneurship, and inclusive economic growth. During a visit to the NGF Secretariat in Abuja, both institutions agreed to establish a joint working committee to coordinate state-level innovation initiative and support youth-led ventures. MDTI Director General Dr. Kazim Kolawole Raji highlighted the success of the 2025 Next Gen Innovation Challenge, which has attracted over 3,000 applications and announced plans to institutionalize it as an annual national event. He revealed that NBTI incubation centers have commercialized more than 10,000 indigenous products and outlined plans to set up high-tech hubs across Nigeria to empower 50,000 startups annually and create over 1 million jobs. That is a good one. Now, for those that are wondering, the National Board for Technical Incubation, they are nurturing innovation and entrepreneurship in Nigeria. They have one major mission. That is foster growth in the Nigerian tech sector, drive economic development, and create sustainable jobs. Have they been at it? Yes. This is well since 2005, 2007. Now, sometime in 2022, the then DG was saying that they've created directly over 22,000 jobs. That was 2022, 23. After how many years? Well, almost over 15 years. Well, who scored them a good point? We don't know yet. We'll leave that to the public to do that. But right now, we have something that is brewing, and that is what we really want to sit and talk about. Now, they have 6 zonal offices across the 6 geopolitical zones. They are coming up with innovations, things that will make not just the young person, but anyone out there that is tech inclined, business inclined, to be able to develop their business and get to work. Now, my question is always this. When the center, which happens to be the federal government, with its agencies, come up with this kind of beautiful ideas, something that is workable, plans and product, how does the state link up? Because everybody's looking to the center. Now we've had this particular meeting between this agency and the Nigerian Governors Forum. Are we seeing a direct involvement of the 36 states with this particular agency?
Well, I think for me it's a nice idea. And of course, this also could assist in what the president called last week, that the state governors, they need to wet the grass more because people are still complaining at the grassroots where they are operating. And they have more money in their hands now. They should be able to do things that will help move people out of hunger so that there will be not too much complaint in the streets. I think this can help. But what I also want to is to borrow a leaf from what Rwanda had done in the Innovation City. Rwanda Innovation City is one that is quite very, very strategic, that in one place, you are not just having an innovation hub, you are having the innovation center, you are having the industrial complex, and then you are having the financial institution. And the 3 are merged in one. So whatever thing that you think you want to do that's coming on your head, there's a factory that is ready to help you do the prototype. And there's a bank ready to fund it. So that's the Rwanda Innovation Center. And right in the street, they've created what they call K-Labs and Fab Lab. You have Knowledge Lab, where people go to learn. And then you also have what they call Fabrication Lab. So that whatever design you have drawn, you take it to the machines in the fabrication lab, and they are able to put it into a product. And then, of course, there's also a symbiotic relationship with the industry, so that the hotels are off-taking whatever that is produced from the fabrication lab. And so these guys are not just doing something, but they are able to earn. Because the worry I have is that we have done a whole lot of vocational training in Nigeria. And a lot of people go for this vocational training. Young people, they learn barbing, they learn how to do some stuff. And at the end of the day, there are no patronage. And then some of them fall back to motorcycle riding to be able to earn a living. And this has been a huge challenge, because when you see all those boys that are doing those things, many of them had learned one trade or the other, but there's nobody, there's no off-taker of their services. And I think it was only in Lagos during Fashola time, that when he was putting energy in the technical education, that he also mandated them that those who were doing the electrical were the ones responsible for servicing the street lights, and those who were doing the carpentry were responsible in producing the desk and chairs for the schools. So what I have done is that you are training them, but you're also creating an avenue for them to earn. Now, this is what state government must need to do with the National Board for Innovation, that you creating opportunity, we also must support by creating that enabling environment that whoever you are going to train, we must ensure that they find something to be doing so that the training is not wasted.
So the training is not wasted. Priya, let me come to you. Now, they are looking beyond the 6 geopolitical zones. They are trying to say, hey, 36 states, what do you think? This is where we are right now. Aside the technology hubs, it's all about human beings. At the end of the day, is one person being productive. One person, after being productive, being able to grow that business and employ others. Should states not be off-taking this particular innovation from the board?
Of course, there should be, and that is why there's a collaboration between the board and the Nigerian Governors Forum. But the thing is, if we take a very good look at it, the National the Technological Board incubation is operating in 27 states already.
In 6 geopolitical zones, right?
Yes, in 27 states already.
Okay.
Now, that cover, that should be. So if they're already doing that, what impact do they already have there? Now, coming to state governments and the expectation from them to create tech hubs to empower, how many people, how many states can we point our fingers to by the time you look in? You look at Lagos when it comes to tech and the existence of the computer village there and other little hubs that are existing in some other places. How many other states that can we point to? Because I remember vividly when Mark Zuckerberg came to Nigeria, that was
you're centering on IT.
Is it not the same thing?
No, as long as you can carry a whole, it's technology. As long as you can wear it.
Yeah, so is that different? Is that different from this? Is that different from this? It's not different.
It's all encompassing.
It's all encompassing. So where did he go to? How many places did he visit when he came here? So even if the president recently just said that the state governors need to wet the ground and all of that, and they quickly run to the board to say, oh, we are liaising with you because they want to appear like we are doing something. I think they should do something and let it speak. Fine, now probably this is not late. Now that they are there, they need to show workings like the street parlance. They need to show doings so they can really see the strength, or they can really see the impact of the state governors in the life of the citizens in their own state. Because if not, I don't think Lagos State will struggle to show itself that it's working in that area, because it has little hubs here and there where these people unhindered have the access to go there to go and develop something to work with. And for other state governors, just the way they put out land, land for farming, just the way they separate some form of facility and infrastructure for these purposes, for other purposes like agriculture, like factories that is owned by the private. They need to partner with other private organizations to let them know that, okay, we'll provide the land, we will provide this and that waivers. We can collude with the federal government to make sure that you have waivers for importing this machinery, for tax waivers, so that you'll be able to start something in our vicinity and to empower the locals.
If we are looking at the National Board for Technical Incubation, why are we thinking of importing machineries? Why not fabricate them?
Why not fabricate them? But it's not all of them where we can fabricate at this point in time.
We are looking at them as an incubation hub.
Yes, we are looking at them.
Not an importation source.
Okay, so not an importation. We are looking at them as an incubation hub. So as we speak now, these incubation hubs, or the ones that we currently have, do they have the capacity to do or provide the expectation and the outcome that we want to see?
Hold on, Priya. Right now, we are not just trying to create jobs. We want to be able to also provide products that we're not looking for competition, that can service us in the first place.
And you require technology to do this, and machineries, some of which you can't produce. some of which you can't produce here.
No.
While they are working on the development, of those technologies, are we going to fold our arms and wait until that technology is ready before we hit the ground running?
Your great-grandfathers didn't wait for the Europeans.
And we didn't wait. So whilst we're taking care of that, we can continue to import others that will make us start and probably study the design and the make of the same technology we're importing into the country.
This study you're talking about now, Olumide, I'm coming to you. Now we have the National Board for Technology Incubation, and also we have a similar name, the National Board for Technical Education, which happens to be the accrediting agency body for polytechnics. Should these two not be working hand in hand?
Well, they should. They should work hand in hand. We should see a synergy, because this particular initiative, when I read it, I feel this is one of the most commendable initiative to drive youth towards technological and, of course, economic transformation. And I like the inclusiveness of involving 774 local government. But if you now look at this local governments, when you talk about resource constraints, some of them do not even have internet services, incubators, and all that. So it's going to require a whole lot of monitoring, follow-through, execution. It's going to require a lot from state government and local government. It's going to require mentorship. Also, I'm looking at intellectual property and protection. These are some of the things that actually matter. How are they going to implement this thing to make sure that it actually gets to the grassroots? People from the grassroots communities actually have access to this. Yes, Lagos is a leading model, but what about other states like Ogun, Osun, Ekiti? What's going to happen?
You didn't mention Priya State. That's not fair.
All right.
Doc, I'm coming back to you. Now, I was trying to get this off Olumide. We have the National Board for Technical Education, polytechnics. We have local governments, because at the end of the day, we have to personalize whatever works is coming out from this board, because they are not just trying to make Nigeria grow. If individuals can get productive, then as a whole, we are making good progress. How do we link National Board for Technology Incubation and National Board for Technical Education and local governments?
Well, you know, school curriculum will not really provide the ecosystem for technological incubation. So what you're going to like in these ones is like a skill acquisition kind of center. So people are having formal education. So the board for technical education, their own is to regulate the curriculum for this certain education. But I see a sense where a linkage is possible, really. You can also have, because I know that most of the polytechnic, I remember the last time I was in one of the federal polytechnics, and the rector was saying to us that they are also doing a lot in the area of skill acquisition. So which is an irregular kind of programs. After they have done the academic, then you create that platform and opportunity for them to sit down and see how to translate their ideas into product. I think it will make a lot of sense if really they can be tied to some of the polytechnic, and those hubs are within those spaces, so that even the young people who are in the polytechnic can actually be enrolling in the program of the incubation hub, so that by the time they are even leaving the university, they would have been able to actually perfect whatever technology that their mind is able to carry, and then of course looking at patenting it or commercializing it, as it were. So I see it's possible that link can happen, but the two are out doing two separate things. So while the NBTI is regulating the curriculum of the polytechnic, these guys are actually after individuals who have idea and they actually want to crystallize it. There are also people, don't forget, who also have known that privilege before now, that the student loans were there to go to polytechnic, but they're also very creative in their mind. So they can also have opportunity to access this hall. But the agencies are really too many. We have NIDA on one hand, which is also working in area like this. NASENI is also in that space, also working. And I think we need to be a lot more coordinated so that we actually have one very broad agency that is responsible for all these technological triumphs. So it won't be one agent is spilling some energy here, this person is spilling some energy here, this one is spilling some energy here, and they cannot amount to so much. There's a need to also coordinate these things and make it much more effective. So I will agree that if it is possible that Polytechnic become the center for these incubation centers, it would make a lot of sense. Okay.
Tri, I'm coming back to you. You spoke about local government and some states some time ago. Now let's talk about the Next Gen Innovation Challenge. Now they are targeting young people from 774 local governments to come up with whatever is their innovation, their technological innovation, whatever they can bring on the table and compete. Now that has been closed. But now, are we looking beyond a competition and being able to cater for whatever service-driven solution coming out from this and being able, just like Doctor said, put money on it and we see an invention or a business that can thrive beyond the challenge?
Okay, since the incubation is here to commercialize and to sell local ideas that are going to amount to local products and equally put what's this innovation, this tax, this property tax, I'm trying to remember, but I'll get to that. So what I'm trying to, I wanted to mention NIDA before Doc actually referenced them and referenced NASENI. I don't think they should work in silos. I think both NIDA, both NASENI, the Technical Board for Education and the incubation should all come together. Now you're talking about competition or going beyond competition. Competition is a very good platform to strengthen the capacities of whoever is coming to compete because it specifies or it says a lot about what you have put in. Intellectual property, that's what I was trying to refer before. Intellectual property. Intellectually, it specifies what you have been able to invest to be able to come up with a product. We had a young man here, we had a conversation with him and how he went ahead and he spoke extensively, how he's been able to develop, okay, maybe a stick for a walking stick for the blind, and that the blind man or woman or the blind person would need to walk with that stick without being aided by another person who can see. And that stick will be able to guide the person on the way through, even in a busy road. So that's a very good innovation. There are other aspects I spoke to him, I asked questions about, what about for those who are hard of hearing? Have you come up with a technology? He said they are working on a whole lot of things. But one of the problems that they encounter whenever they are doing that, it's funds. And he told me that if he had 50 million Naira, he should be able to put something on the table that would have gone through his hands by way of intellectual property through the lab, or where he improvised as a lab to come up with something quite laudable. Now, people like that, they need to have a platform where they'll be able to not only express themselves or sell their ideas. NASENI, NIDA, the National Information Technology Development Agency, the Incubation and the National Board for Technical Education need to constitute a board where they sit either quarterly or they sit 6 months in a year, like twice in a year, to have these people either by way of competition or to sell and convince the team to sell their ideas to these persons so that they can provide a platform or capital, startup capital, to individuals who have been able to distinguish themselves so that we can have these products developed initially and the government can assist them to establish themselves, intellectual property and all of that will be protected. So we can have something that we can back up. We have peculiar problems that does not, the kind of problems that does not exist outside this country. And because these people are here and they live here and being confronted with the same kind of problems, they'll be able to develop the technology that is, capable of solving such peculiar problems that are peculiar to our environment and to our country. And I think the governors should not just stop here, because if they stop here, they are going to confirm what I've said earlier on, that because the president has said this, they are trying to come out and say, hey, we're doing something.
The governors are not even on.
Yeah, but I something just came into my mind. I don't know how the Director General of the Nigerian Government Forum will be able to really actualize this.
That's what I wanted to ask. How do we get that political will?
Yeah, to approach the CBN to create a technological bank where states are going to put seed money. And this seed money will be for maybe 5% interest. For a lot of people, like the young man that Priya just talked about, who is looking for 50 million to invest in his ideas, can just like have the Bank of Agric, Bank of Industry, and all this other bank, because we didn't put factor technology into our GDP. We just have done that now. So I also think it is important that we can create, just like I had mentioned earlier, that you find in South Africa, the finance is there, the industry is there, and the learning environment is there. So all the universities are working in the same environment, and the factories are in the same environment. Then the financing institutions are also in the environment. So these guys, they don't need to even go to anywhere. So from school, once the idea is developed and the school authenticate that, look, this is sellable, then they say, okay, let's get to the factory. The factory, of course, okay, can we do a prototype? The prototype is ready, and they said, oh, this is where we are. Can we commercialize this? And the bank is ready to put the money and let it run. So I think the state governors can put money together and help the National Board for Incubation, so that while they are aggregating young people with talents and skills, then of course the bank will just be there waiting that if these guys or technology are coming out of these incubation hubs, then of course there'll be a financing that may be required, whether it's in the form of patenting to protect the intellectual property, or to produce a prototype, or then even commercializing the whole idea. Then of course we will have an institution that is willing to partner with these ideas, and then they can sell, and they recover the money for the bank, and successive generation can continue to benefit from this kind of a specialized financing system, not domiciled in commercial bank that will be highly interest driven, but you now have a very low single-digit loan that potential inventors can access to drive the idea home.
Potential investors can access to drive the ideas home. Now, let's still talk about governors. Now, you are looking at governors aggregating and putting money in one purse. How easy is that?
Is that easy?
It's very easy when it's a political action, when it's something that is a political party or political alignment. So right now, this has to do with development of their state.
No.
If they can't do it collectively, can they do it individually?
You see, it does take a state government to be proactive and to be forward-looking. Take, for example, even before the federal government took the initiative to put fund in BOI, Lagos State already has put fund in BOI.
What did you say? Lagos State?
Yes.
Good. So can't individual states put funds for their own state citizens?
Yeah, that is what it's supposed to be, that every state is partnering with Bank of Industry to assist industry within their states. So it's like you put money into this bank and say, manage this bank for my citizens.
Okay.
So the same approach can actually also happen with this. I'm actually advocating a separate bank, because when you see Bank of Industry, they're only funding projects but
not
you see,
small scale.
No small scale, not small scale. But even they can't even fund trials.
Definitely they don't fund.
Yeah, they're not going to fund trials, so they are funding a business that has a plan already to succeed, which model is out there, maybe to import machines and the rest of it. But here is people who are going to experiment with ideas. So you are having a bank separately made for them. And I'm advocating that this bank is created by CBN, and then of course states, it can even say, okay, maybe it's 1% of their monthly allocation.
Would they agree? Okay.
From source. Take it from source. So Chooks, it's not about if they will agree. Because if you look at the outcome, if we are able to achieve this, where we have these young chaps develop a solution that is peculiar to Nigeria, they've developed solutions that are peculiar to Africa. So the market is huge, and we can export to these places. And I think there are some issues that the federal government can, if it can use its way politically to bulldoze, and sometimes it gets in that space. This is exactly what it should do, that 1% of this is going towards this direction, because it's a national emergency. And we cannot completely rely.
So are you speaking as the president right now, or you're speaking as...
Let's assume I'm speaking as someone who advises the government.
Okay.
Yes. So take it straight from source. Most especially, if you want to look at it political wise, make sure that your governors from your state, the ruling party, the governors of your state must fall in line with this. And if we have majority of them falling in line with that, we can equally incentivize it.
What about the opposition?
The opposition will have to buy in too, because you make it a national emergency.
The road that you are taking us to now, let me come to you. Let's say you are Engineer Kazim Raji, who happens to be the DG of our National Board for Technical Incubation, and you have to pitch to governors on why they should join this particular train. What would you tell them?
It would definitely boost the economy of the state. It would create jobs. Because if we are able to take care of these inventions, innovators, they would in turn, and we put money to fund them. Of course, for them to produce on a large scale their inventions, they would have to hire other people, which would also lead to job creation. It will trickle down to the economy. I feel that we can also partner with microfinance banks also in getting this thing up and running. But the major thing is execution.
Microfinance,
they don't have the money.
Yeah, they may have the money, but if you put the money, they are not going to use it for the purpose. You just look to have a specialized institution whose focus is on tech, and that's all they'll be doing, and that's what they are funding. And they know that they are not out to go give money to people to start to sell small jobs. They are looking for people who can become creative, because really it's important. Once financing is guaranteed, a lot of young people will be able to unleash the ideas that they have in their head. And if, of course, access is also granted. Now, the most important point here is the fact that everything is a beneficiary. Because at the end of the day, because I was watching yesterday as government officials are taking a call to the Falcons for the victory. Success is sweet.
Definitely.
So if it's creating success, and I think it's a model that everybody should borrow from. And I have already just suggested that, look, the federal government can say, oh, let's, at National Council meeting, because these are issues that has to do with the state. That, where is the world going? The world is moving in the direction of ICT. I have argued on this table severally that when we say Nigeria IT service, because we're only product consumers. We are not creators.
Okay, Doc.
But so we must deliberately...
Let me puncture you a bit. Now, we get to those big restaurants and you see yam pounder. That everybody here loves pounded yam. But that particular prototype was made by a Nigerian. But right now, we are importing it from China and Japan. We go out and we see Anamco. Some of those particular prototypes were made by Nigerians. But we see us importing them from outside. Let's now look at our neighbors, the Balogu market. Over 60–70% of those shoes and bags you see are designed here and manufactured there.
Yeah, but this president has stopped this because he has created a fund for the Southeast. He call it the Southeast Industrialization Fund.
So that
will solve that problem.
Let's look at MBTI right now.
Yeah.
Our ability to not just hold our patent, but produce here for the world to take of us.
Yeah, that's the point. That is the point. You see, why do people go to China? Because you have factory design and they are flexible for this idea. Because most of the things are actually coming from China. The whole idea is they don't originate from China. If you go to Balogu market here,
you will see where people who didn't even go to school are creating models or modes that they are sending to China for production. So they are using the whole of our head because they have factories that have been set up and they are programmed to be as flexible as possible to produce anything that you bring into it. So this is the model that is working for China. Because when you see where these people, whether they exclude, they are selling shoes, they are selling bed, they are selling, they draw the design from here and send it to China and say, China put it into mode and send it back to us. So that's the point that I'm making. What we need to do is that when we have these specialized banks who are actually creating this opportunity, and states should buy into it. States should buy into it, that at the end of the day, we don't need to go to elsewhere. That's why I mentioned when I started that if we can borrow some leaf from Rwanda. Rwanda today, they have both knowledge lab and fabrication lab. And both of them are situated side by side. Why young people come to those labs to learn? Then whatever thing that they can put together, there's a factory by this size, small factory. They're not big structures. In short, the day I took some Nigerian public servant delegation to visit those up, they are not anything, just a small thing. But they have created it. That this afford young people who are tech savvy to go work. In short, they also have one they created that look like office, where you can actually go to borrow office to do whatever thing that you need to do. So it is possible. States can buy into this. And then we can start to create what is necessary, the platform, where when these children are thinking, they will have somebody who can put it into a product, what they call it now. And then, of course, we cannot think of commercializing with time. And those factories can also be here.
Okay.
With support.
Right. Factories being here with support is what we want to see. Now, for Engineer Kazim Raji, you have your work cut out for you. And please don't sleep on it, because we are looking forward to seeing you succeed and succeed very well. And to the state governors, you've heard the oracle himself. You've heard Priye, you've heard Olumide. Please and please, we're not putting a percentage on what you should drop, but don't let this dream fail. You owe it as a duty, not just to yourself, but to every one of us. We're going on a very short break. Souk Business Landscape will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market, or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
Welcome to Femi Walsh Limited, owners of Souk TV Lagos, Our Radio Lagos, Kaswa Radio Kano, and of course Emirates TV Abuja and Dubai. Our niche market for media is business, economy, and development. At Femi Walsh, we promote your company's products and services using our world-class facilities. From Our Radio to Souk TV, what you get is nothing but the best of the very best.
And if you're looking for the premium production firm for your events and corporate coverage, think no further, because we offer you the best of industry stuff.
With high-definition cameras ranging from 4K to 8K multicam setups, high-directional microphones, and real-time streaming encoders, we give you a production like none other. And if you're looking to produce podcasts, adverts, and documentaries, our team of experts will ensure that you convey your message clearly and professionally. Femi Walsh, Global Vision, Local Impact.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy, see something. This is Souk business landscape. Welcome back. This is still your program, and we are on to the next. The Nigerian Security and Exchange Commission has declared that Nigeria is open to stable coin business as long as operators comply with regulations. Speaking at the Nigeria Stablecoin Summit in Lagos, SEC Director General Timi Agama described the move as a landmark step towards Africa's financial revolution. Agama highlighted Nigeria's growing digital economy and rising demand for stable coins amid Naira volatility. He said the updated Investment and Securities Act 2025 provides a legal framework for digital asset regulation, ensuring innovation while protecting markets. He expressed optimism that Nigeria could become a stablecoin hub for cross-border trade and global investment in the coming years. Here we are. Now, Doc is upon us.
Yes.
That particular change that we are looking forward to.
We are running away for so long.
Is upon us. Now, my happiness is that this is coming from our own Security and Exchange, and it's coming from the topmost person out there. For a very long time, the world has depended on stable coins backed and pegged to the dollar. Now the US have seen the advantage, and they ran and took up the bill and approved it in no time, knowing very well that it's going to favor them. Right now, other nations should also start looking at how it's going to favor us and not just favor them. Should we start looking at stable coins pegged to the Naira?
Well, I think with time is what was missing was the legal infrastructure that was needed to regulate that environment, because it's new and there's no aspect of our laws that could regulate contracts in that space. So now that the Exchange Act of 2025 has been able to accommodate that regulation, and I think it's now becoming safer for players to actually enter into that terrain and do a lot of business. Why not, if we peg it with Naira and ensure that, but I would not want peg to Naira at the moment because of the hedging power of the Naira currency. I would prefer that it is pegged against the international hedging currency, which is the dollar at the moment, because we need to we are just learning to crawl now, because economy is just coming out of the ICU, even according to Mr. President. So as our economy is getting out of the ICU, we need some time to take some breath and recuperate enough before we can take those kind of bold decisions. In the long run, it's something that I feel can be done, but in the immediate, while of course we are experiencing relative stability in the money market, in the capital market, I think we should hedge against a more stable currency.
Hedge against a more stable currency. Priye, I want you to take the opposite direction, honestly. Now let's look at West Africa. Let's look at us on this side of on this side of the divide. If I come to the market and you come to the market, let's say from Benin or Cote d'Ivoire or Cameroon or Ghana, you still need to do a whole lot of exchange. If we have a stable coin hedged in Naira, you don't even need to come with anything. You just have it, and we just exchange. You give me your stable coin, I give you my goods or my services, and business is faster. For us on this side, should we be looking at that right now instead of going international yet? Let's deal with ourselves first.
Okay, so that would mean that the stable coin would be pegged in the currencies of these respective countries.
You either will peg it in Naira or in
Benin French francs or in
CD in Ghana. Well, that's another route that we can do. But however, I think it's better whilst we're trying to solve this problem, if it is within the continent of Africa, we also need to protect the value of the Naira first. So if in order to protect the value of the Naira, I think we should maintain that stance and allow the stable coin to be, be in the USDT or in the US dollars at the moment in time. Because if we can do that, we may have advantage, we may have a disadvantage. An advantage in the sense that about 22 million people from Nigeria alone are into the crypto space. And according to Binance, when you look at Nigeria, we are one of the top 10 in crypto trading. So, and it is a sorry state that the government did not take advantage of this. But we thank God that now it is, coming up. It has woken up to this. However, we should make sure that we look at this very well so that we do not have a disadvantage. A disadvantage in the sense that if we jump in, because now in 2023, the CBN actually softened its stance when it comes to cryptocurrency and crypto trade in Nigeria because of the volume of people we have using the P2P trade in Nigeria. If we peg it, Nigerian Naira or the Ghanaian CD to the stable coin, fine. But what happens to the Naira? And is there any disadvantage?
No.
If there's no disadvantage, then it's a direction that we can go to. But what if we do not? Is the advantage more than when we are going to peg it?
So we have more disadvantage using dollar-pegged stable coins.
No, if we are going to use dollar-pegged stable coin, we must not be within two African countries. It must not be within the African continent.
But you can't stop it. You can't stop it.
No, not stopping it in the sense that we still need to trade with the US and with other clients that use the euro or the pound sterling. In that specific case, we'll go with the international denomination. Okay. But when we come locally, continent-wise,
dollar-pegged stablecoins to law in his state.
Yes, in his
state. And
I've
backed it up with over 200 billion as reserve. Now, do you think you were expected to come with Naira-pegged stablecoin when you're dealing with his?
I'm talking about stablecoin with other African countries. I'm talking with stablecoin with other African countries.
At the moment, whether we accept it or we don't, the dollar is still the international exchange currency. So America stand at an advantage. There's no country in the world you get to that dollar is not traded. Naira don't have that power yet.
But can't we start something? We have to start.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, yes, you can start something, but you have to also be looking at the possibility of the things that you are going to start. I watched a small clip of video yesterday where you're even having some Ghanaian protesting in the street, wanting Nigeria out of Ghana. So the unity in ECOWAS is so fragile that we have not been able to even agree on a common, what is it called, common currency. Even the common passport we so-called ECOWAS passport, they are not as valuable as they should look like if we are still restricting movement within the ECOWAS states, and we're still determining I'm going to enter Ghana and somebody's going to scream me even with my ECOWAS passport. So these are the issues that have to be addressed first, so that it's not just about us saying, okay, yes, there's a market that is there, but what's the level of the unity between the sub-Saharan Africa or even West African states? It's something that is not solid or strong enough, and we're not even taking leadership in that direction. So that, for me, is what it is. Why we are trying to see how we can build a common currency in West Africa and to have one single currency. It makes a lot of sense. Then, of course, we can talk about hedging. And then, of course, everybody knows that we're all trading within the same space. But as it is now, people will still prefer dollar in the Republic than they want to take to America.
Okay. Now, let's look at stable coins as stable coins. You are not holding Naira. You're not holding cash. You're not transferring cash. It's wallet-to-wallet movement. Yes. And products and services are faster sold or rendered that way. Now, let's also look at it from the side of cross-border trade. Do you think Nigeria, if you are a Gama right now and you have someone or a group of people, a company that are coming up and say, we want to develop a Naira-pegged stablecoin, What would you tell them?
Stable coin itself, it's a way of holding a currency that is pegged to the value of that currency.
Yes.
Like the USDT. So it's a very good innovation. I wish Nigeria would have tapped into it a very long time. Maybe by now, the Naira itself would have gotten some form of strength. So, for it to be pegged to the Naira and for it to have value, first of all, we need to have, just like Doc said, a unified currency in which the dollar and in which the Naira itself can go on. If we have a unified currency, unified African Union or whatever we might want to call it, side by side with the Naira, we can witness some form of strength and growth. It can also allow for intra-African trade. If we have one currency, whereby I can from here transact with someone in South Africa or in Ghana or Mali or whatever. But most countries, or if not all countries, still have some form of sentiment towards the dollar. So I think first of all, what we also need is digital literacy. We need to also educate our own people, because for it, the success and the strength of any stable coin is the patronage. And what people do not understand, they get discouraged too. We also need to educate our own people what it is, what the stable. I thought by now the Naira would have gone really, really far. But
Naira is government issued, so most people might not take it.
That's why I said digital literacy should have come in.
It's not profitability driven, it's not interest driven, so it's not going to serve the purpose, except we're going to review the process.
Okay. Sorry. Let's look at it from this. We have two big major stable coins. We have Theta, USDT. You have USDS, UFDC. Now, for this particular stable coins, it took a long time for them to get accepted. They've gone through the curve of rejection, acceptance, reject. It keeps happening till this Trump era. It's the same thing. If we decide and say, okay, let's have a stable coin pegged to the Naira, it's a matter of time. Acceptance will come. But the longer we wait, someone else will do it. Maybe our next African neighbors will do it. Then tomorrow you want to go and buy something in Ghana, you now use a stable coin pegged to the city. The Agama has woken up and said, hey, if you can, you're welcome. Let's see what's going to happen. Because whether we like it or not, we are still showing up the dollar. And it's easier to develop a stable coin than develop a central currency for Africa. That's, well, I don't know how that is going to come up.
Can we develop a stable coin in Nigeria and start using it to trade amongst ourselves?
Definitely, yes.
I think that's one of the ways we can start.
Yeah, but as long as we still have the whole idea about when you're talking about, in short, even the Minister of Finance still talks about relative stability of Naira. Naira itself is not stable at the moment. So you see still hovering a little bit up, a little bit down. Though the margin is not massive, but it's not stable.
But that makes for good trading.
I remember the time, first time I went to the UAE, was it 2008 or thereabout? Dollar to dirham was 3.5. If you go to UAE, dollar to dirham is still 3.64.
Good. Now,
for that period of time, you can see the
very small margin of up and down.
Yeah,
that gives way and room for trading.
Over 10 years, the currency is almost at the same point. So it's not moving too much. So that tells you that, look, they've been able to achieve a measure of stability. So you can answer. But then, of course, even the UAE are not hedging things against the currency. Everybody still do with the dollar because it's, at the moment, the international store for value, really, for hedging, as it were. But also looking at our Naira, because we are stabling, the economy is, we still need to have this 2-year gone. Maybe when we know, because we don't know, a lot of people are very bitter and angry. We don't know the tone that the next election is going to take. And we're also thinking that, of course, some of all these policies they are going to face reversal. So these are issues that we must also put into account while we are, so that we're not too optimistic. So I think what requires a cautious optimism. Yes, we have gotten to that threshold now. The Gama has said, oh, the SEC Act enable us to be able to regulate that industry now, so that if there are arbitration or dispute issues, of course, SEC can wade in. Now that is sorted. So I think the next step is to see, watch a little and see how your currency stabilizes, and then before you can be thinking of anybody willing to hedge his own currency. If you're talking about African trade or West African trade, then of course, Sweden will have to push for one single currency that's possible, like they're doing in Europe at the moment. Then of course, everybody can now have confidence in each other. Okay. Trade within Nigeria, I think there's a possibility. Of course, no matter how weak your Naira is, so your digital currency is also as weak. So if you are going now to exchange it with another country's currency, it's your Naira's strength that will determine its strength at the cross-border market.
Okay. We want to say thank you very much. We'll go on a very short break. When we return, Souk Business Landscape, we'll be right here. Don't go anywhere.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If we say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
On the 19th of August 2025, Paris will come alive with the prestigious People's Choice Governors Awards taking place at the Govt Hotel, Paris. The prestigious People's Choice Governors Awards is designed to celebrate governors who have contributed immensely to their states in different countries across the world. If you are a governor who's gone above and beyond to deliver transformative projects in your state and country, then this award is for you. To partake of the Governor's Excellence Awards this year taking place in Paris, all you have to do is send an email to soupnexus.com with the words, "I accept," and we will get right back to you. You can also send a WhatsApp message to the WhatsApp number scrolling on your screen right now. You don't want to miss Paris for anything, and we are looking forward to celebrating you and your achievements this year. So contact Souk Nexus to make that happen. Over the past 10 years, we've seen that the impact of many lawmakers have been underrated. If you are playing a pivotal role in enacting laws and shaping policies for your community, society, or nation, then this is for you. The People's Choice Legislative Excellence Award celebrates the individual achievement of lawmakers who have worked tirelessly to enhance the lives of their constituents and contribute positively to their entire well-being. Now, if you're wondering where this will be taking place, it will be taking place at Radisson Blu Dubai Creek on the 25th of September 2025. To take part in this award, all you have to do is send an email to soupnexus.com or send a message to the WhatsApp number scrolling on your screen. We want to see you at Radisson Blu Dubai Creek. Wouldn't you rather be there?
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If we say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something, see something. This is Souk Business Landscape. Welcome back. It's Souk Business Landscape. Remember to go on all social media platforms and follow us at SOUQNEWS TV. We'll follow you back. Talk to us and we'll get a response. Now, let's get straight to what is happening to small businesses. The Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria has partnered with the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Center for Business Integrity to promote good governance in Nigeria's over 40 million micro, small, and medium enterprises. Speaking at an event in Lagos, FRC Executive Secretary Dr. Rabiu Olowo said the adoption of the 2024 Small and Medium Enterprise Corporate Governance Guideline will boost MSMEs' longevity and sustainability. Olowo noted that MSMEs account for 96% of businesses and 84% of employment in Nigeria, but face very high failure rate due to poor governance structures. He explained that the now new partnership will improve access to capital, build investor confidence, and also enhance accountability, which is one of the main and major issues. Now, this initiative aims to transform MSMEs into sustainable enterprises that can grow into major corporations, contributing significantly to Nigeria's economy. Your Excellencies, distinguished gentlemen, this is where we get to ask this question. I can't remember, someone asked me this question sometime last week. He said, can you name one Nigerian company that has outlived 75 years? One Nigerian company since 1960. And I had to rack my head.
It's difficult to measure, but I think numbers are also very important. I think in this part of the world, we like throwing numbers a lot, and I don't, if we say we have 40 million MSMEs in Nigeria,
then we don't have...
there's no unemployment in Nigeria. It should be 0%.
I almost thought about it, but...
Yeah, because if you say you have 40 million MSME, just imagine that you have an average of 2 workers. That's already 80 million people.
Gainfully employed.
Gainfully employed. By the time you put those in government, put those in blue chip and put it together, that is getting to... Now, those younger generation in school that are not graduated. So, unemployment figure in Nigeria should be 0.
No, but I think right now they are looking at 40 million based on the numbers that have been registering and they've been compiling maybe since 1960.
Well, I think that's just branding figures. I think we can do without necessarily putting numbers on the screen that may be subject of disputations, as it were.
But for these businesses, for most of these businesses, they start as one-man business.
Yes, one-man business, yes.
And they remain as one-man business.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But of course,
how can that change?
It depends on the nature of the business. At a certain point, that's why I said you take an average of 2. But many of them don't remain one-man business for too long. You see, what also we have not factored in is that some of these businesses are just like a family business. And there are a lot of people who are assisting you. They may not be on your regular, but of course, we are making provision for them. It's just like the kind of the apprenticeship system you practice in the Southeast. The business is registered in one man's name, but it's not one man that is doing the business. There are a lot of people who are involved in the process of the business. It's a one-man person shop, but we have about 5, 6 apprentices that are attached to this person in that same shop. So to that extent, you don't call it one man. But you have a lot of businesses that are actually translated, but they may not be in the national limelight, as it were. There are people who have operated company for a very long period of time. And then, of course, the company is growing and growing. And another thing that also a big problem for our people is the fact that a lot of people don't want business to go out of their hands. And therefore, they recruit people who are less as intelligent as they are, so that they don't lose control of the business. And this also can result in the debt. But most fundamentally, we were in a retreat, a leadership retreat on Saturday, and the crux of the conversation was how to grow, start, scale, and sustain business. And of course, the model that was quite very astounding was the Japanese model, where you have companies that were started in 705 AD that are still in existence today. And that was quite very incredible. And over here, they've been able, and one of the factors that was at the heart of all of what these things, that they are people-centered corporations. That beyond individual who is starting the business is the fact that they also are not looking at products and services, they're looking at the people who are delivering on this service. And once companies invest on people, chances that that business is going to thrive and outlive its owner is quite very, very high.
Chances are high if it's people-centered.
It's people-centered,
okay.
Yes.
Priya, I'm coming to you. We have Emeka and Sons. So after Emeka, the Sons will now leave and go to Canada. So Emeka and Sons, he's gone. We have Abiola Bookshops, if you can still remember very well. It's not far from here. We have a whole lot of these businesses. Why are we finding it difficult to pass on, if not to the next generation, to somebody that's not family?
Okay, so first of all, if you look at what the FRC and the LCCI, with the Center for Business Integrity, are trying to do, you know, Doc referenced something like, okay, maybe you have the Emeka and Sons, and you still have, it's owned by one man, but the sons probably have 5 sons, 2 daughters are working with him. And what they lack in cases like that is just the corporate governance structure and guidelines. So you could have such companies existing, and they have about 7 people in their employment or who are going through apprenticeship, and they are still being paid for it. The LCCI and the FRC and the Center for Business Integrity may not really look at such boarding organizations as the kind of organization that they are trying to be, or those kind of organizations that the outcome of their innovation or reform is going to create, because the guidelines for corporate governance is not there. They don't operate with with those guidelines. So if they don't operate with those guidelines, they cannot be captured in that sense. So they are coming in to make sure that those organizations in those sense, in those existence can be captured in that light. And in doing that, probably they want to provide the information, the education, the training, so that it will provide the ground for them to last to these 75 years and more that we are looking at, some of the companies that Doc referenced. But the thing is, some of these organizations have existed. This Emeka and Sons and Co. They've existed. Some of them have existed for a while, maybe not up to 75 years, but there are some that have existed for 20 and still counting, for 30 and still counting.
Because Emeka is still alive, or the son has taken over?
Okay, probably sometimes because Emeka is still alive.
Okay.
Other times, probably the Emeka has transitioned to the great beyond, and he has the sons and the daughters are people who can still carry the legacy forward. So you see some of those businesses alive. The thing is, if they have stayed for 20 years without using the corporate governance guidelines that this is providing.
The guideline you're talking about is that is coming from these agencies.
Yes.
Mind you, there can also be guidelines that are local guidelines.
Yes, very good. There can be good local guidelines. But those local guidelines, is it effective to bring them into the corporate space where their clientele and their reach is beyond the local clientele that patronizes them, that can get to a level where huge organizations that are governed with a corporate governance structure are being driven and governed? Can they expose their books when there is need, when the regulators come knocking? Can they, in fact, so that is the reason why we need to ask, all these guidelines of corporate governance, are they something that the MSMEs are going to find burdensome, or is going to look at something that will hinder them from doing what they've been doing all the while? I think that's the germane question to ask. And if there are local guidelines too that has enabled this Emeka and Sons or Chubike and Company to exist for 10 years, for 20 years, for 30 years, I think the corporate guidelines, the corporate governance guidelines that these corporate organizations are bringing in should not completely discard those local guidelines, but we can find a very good means, most especially with the local guidelines laws that can operate not in conflict with the corporate governance guidelines, but that will aid, and both of them can exist together to really provide for longevity, as the case may be.
Okay, Matt, I'm coming to you. Now let's look at the chambers of commerce. Now we see small businesses. The debt rate is way over 80%. Is it possible where we say, okay, Chamber of Commerce, for each of the businesses you identify, you be the mentor to those businesses? You might be a non-executive director, no shareholding director in those businesses, whereby you take responsibility. Let's say you come to Lagos and you identify 50 businesses. Let's say get people into those businesses to follow up that particular business over a period of time and see them grow. Is this something that is doable?
It's doable if proper monitoring is done. It's doable if these businesses also allow you to mentor them. Because just like Priya and just like Doc said, I remember one company that I worked in, and the manager told the chairman, "Sir, you don't need to be coming every day. Let the manager let me take care." And the man said, "Do you want to take over my business?" So that's the mindset a lot of these MSCs have. You go on social media, you see people say CEO this, CEO that, and
but the guy was very smart, because we also have cases where people are quite very terrible. A lady was owning a shop and had a help who was helping to sell there, and he wasn't selling until the day that she decided she wants to go and write WAEC, and she left the shop. And by the time the woman stayed in the shop for 1 hour, she was almost falling. I said, well, it's like a curse has left there. And was so excited, ran to the neighbor and said, wow, this is awesome. You know, this girl is like, she has a curse. She has not been selling. And the neighbor said, no, she sells every time. She goes to market every day. So apparently she buys and replaces the wares, and nothing is lost, but no profit is made. So if you want to take over the business, you don't know the kind of experiences that people are having. This is a challenge in our environment. And that's why it's very important that for us to be able to get to that level of trust, it has to be earned somehow.
True. I like where Doc is going. That is why we must also have audit and record keeping. This same thing happened to one of my friends. His father gave one of our friends, made him a manager. And while it's a printing press, while they were collecting so many jobs, he was pocketing. But luckily, one of the receptionists was keeping records. So at a point, about 3 million was missing, and they were looking for it. But thanks to the receptionist who had records, they were able to detect that it was this guy who was keeping this and all that. So that is, yes, I understand that, yes, people have to earn their trust, and you have to also, then again, you have to know those who you are hiring. That is why these days some MSEs install CCTVs in their shops and in their small businesses.
Let's look at mentoring these small businesses. The person coming to mentor is going to take over your company. His job is to make sure that company grows.
Well, when I say mentor, who is going to be paying the mentor?
That is where the issue is. The mentor might not be paid. That is why they are in Lagos Chamber of Commerce.
So they have their businesses.
Yes,
so
definitely.
What I mean, you see, when we are looking at mentorship, it's not a mentor coming to you. It's a mentee going to the mentor.
Somehow there has to be a connection.
The chamber is there. There are a whole lot of ASBON is there, for example, that's aggregating all MSME. They do training from time to time. How many of them turn up for those trainings? You also have to ask, because you have to say, oh, I need to be mentored. But I think what is missing for us as a country is the fact that entrepreneurship is not taught so well among us. My friend's son just went to Australia to do a course. Part of the course, master's course, business administration and management, is taught into a geological study field. So which means in their eye, it's not just looking at the ground and be looking for where minerals and resources are. That these resources, you have to find a way to convert them to money. So they are taught. So this is the kind of model that we need. When I take first, it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape. Hello, welcome back, and apologies for that breaking transmission. We're still looking at SMEs. Now, we're looking at those small, medium-scale enterprises, and we're asking ourselves, hey, we should do better. Doc was trying to educate us on mentorship. Who should go to who? Mentee or mentor?
Yeah, the point is, what I'm saying is that there are a lot of avenues where these people need to actually be mentored. The point I was making is that our educational system, whether it's at the nursery, at the primary, at the secondary, the tertiary, we must find a way to factor into our trainings, commerce and economics, which is a bedrock for business, administration, and management. And it's unfortunate that in the educational system, they just say, oh, you are science, you are arts, and then probably you are in a
Commercial
social
sciences.
And that classification make some students to lose out completely. I have children who are in science. They have never known what is the meaning of economics one day. All true. So what that means is that, yes, they are creative in their thinking. Even the ability to even be able to think profit or loss is completely missing. And I think this is a problem. If we have to train our people who are doing business on just common simple accounting for non-accountants. You understand it? Bookkeeping, record keeping. Because these are the collaterals that we actually also need to even take to lending institutions that will help people to process what we are doing and look at if there's a possibility or feasibility of you getting access to financial resource. So these are not in place. And because it's just one man and he's not accountable to anybody, he spends the money where he likes. He doesn't know how to put himself on a salary on a monthly basis. So everything that is made is spent. And then, of course, sometimes we even treat capital as part of our profit because everything you sell in a day is like a profit. So these are the issues that are missing in entrepreneurial guide in most of our businesses in Nigeria. And if those issues are critically taught, maybe at elementary school level, and then, of course, they will not need too much of a mentor because people will now have an idea of how a sole proprietorship should run. And I'm not even sure that for some of us who also have the benefit of learning commerce or studying or reading commerce in secondary school and economics, when we're talking about sole proprietorship, we just talk about this business owned by one man and say, oh, the risk is high, and we talk about all those things. But how to run it and make that sole proprietorship work, nobody teaches you. That, yes, it's a sole proprietorship, but it should be run like a business. And how our businesses run, then you have a plan, and that plan will determine how we're going to make your profit and where your profit is going to be coming from. What is your obligation to government? What taxes that are you supposed to pay? What levies are applicable in the environment where you operate? All these things are not taught as part of those courses. And I think this is where we need some curricular upgrade so that people can become entrepreneurial in terms of thinking.
Okay. Now we welcome you back from the school. Unfortunately, this is where our time ends today. We have to say goodbye and continue tomorrow. This is Souk Business Landscape. Remember, go on all social media platforms, follow us, and drop your comments. Follow this conversation, and we will continue outside the studio. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks. It's been a wonderful pleasure having you on this program today. Priye?
Yes, thank you, Chooks. Many thanks for watching. I'm Oyin Priye Kromale. Good morning to you once again.
Thank you. Doc?
It's a pleasure being here on this side and knowing that you are there watching us. See you again tomorrow. Samazaid Hausa is my name.
Olumide?
Keep watching Souk Business Television. Let's do this again tomorrow. I am Olumide Shukwe.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.